am here at the site of, Lord willing, our future home and place where for generations to come, if Jesus does not return beforehand, the gospel will be presented and communicated, and where we will be able to have an impact in this community and in our city and in the world. And we're right on the cusp of the start of this campaign, and I'm really excited to see what God will do. I really see this campaign as the Lord's blessing to unite our church in this common goal of building a church here on this space. There are always two sides to every campaign, and it's no different here. There are two things that we are looking at. The first one is whenever there's a vision laid out for a church, that vision requires funding and resources to accomplish it. And so that's one side, and we're going to, as we start this campaign, we're going to lay out the vision of a church building and what is required for us to achieve it. But the other side of a campaign is when every individual, every family comes together to earnestly seek the Lord and understand what He is calling them to do, how He is calling us to give generously. And that is a challenging, but always a faith-stretching and maturing experience. And so my hope is that every single family that is part of this church, that all of you will go through that journey and we'll do it together, and then we will see God do amazing things. We are going to share the stories of 5 different families and how they have been impacted by the ministry of NAPC, how they've been impacted by the gospel here, and how that has led them in turn to think very seriously and then to give generously in different kinds of ways. And so you're going to hear from Alex Harper and KRISTEN Gilliam, a couple who came to our church out of the blue. They weren't invited, they just showed up, and we embraced them, and they got involved in the life of the church, and their lives were radically changed as a result of being in community, hearing the gospel, and committing themselves to Christ. You're going to hear from Greg and ERIN Walther, who Greg came as a young man, single guy, to our church, came to know Christ, met ERIN, they got married, and they now have 3 kids, and they have an awesome story of how God has been at work in them, especially over the last year or so. You're going to hear from Brian and TESIA Moore, a couple who many of you know are in the midst of the most difficult and painful challenge they've ever experienced. TESIA was recently diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and they are grieving and walking through this right now and striving to trust God with all that they have. You're going to hear from Janet DEHMER, a single mom in our congregation who came to NAPC in a time of tremendous difficulty, has been ministered to in particular by women in our congregation, and then in turn, as she has grown and as she has been blessed, she has then blessed other people who are struggling in our congregation. And then you'll also hear from my mom and dad, from Bob and Anna Milroy. They have been part of our church for about a dozen years, and their lives have been changed dramatically as a result of being in community and growing in their understanding of the Word of God, and then using what is often a time of relaxing and doing whatever you want to do. That's kind of the vision for retirement in America. They have flipped all that on its head, and they have gone and served and loved and had their lives transformed because of their generosity with their time and resources. So I hope all of this causes you to seriously reflect on what the Lord is calling you to do. We are going to be kicking off our capital campaign on September 27th. All of us are going to be going on this 4-week journey where we're going to be learning about the vision and then talking about what the Bible has to say about generosity. My hope is that through that month, September through October, you will be engaged in learning and praying and ultimately then making a commitment to this great effort to have a church right here in this space.